Porzingis is a better free throw shooter than Jaylen Brown. And this is a guy that signed the biggest supermax contract in NBA history, a guy that's shooting 76.2% at the free throw line. And everybody's going to say, well, what about LeBron James? He is not LeBron James. But when you're making that kind of money, I'm not paying a guy $304 million if you're a 76.2% free throw shooter. That's a huge problem. You got to be at least 80%. This is a good team. The Celtics are a good team. Brad Stevens and Danny Ainge.
Yeah, that's the thing that Brad Stevens is going to have to trust that entirety of his process in doing is now that you're investing $130 million combined in all three of those players, you're going to have to trust in a lot of late round hits from these Celtics players. And we've seen that. They've had some good bench players that have worked for them in this current system right now because I don't think right now Mazzulla has changed a lot from what Udoka did and what Brad Stevens did tremendously. It's a lot of the same types of offense, but at the same time, we've also seen Jaylen Brown have some flaws in his game that still haven't really been fixed in the longer term yet. Ball handling, sometimes he gets too aggressive with the three-point shooting, and that's a lot on the decision making. When Tatum is not on his game and Brown is still not that player you want him to be, then the Celtics' depth is tested, and that's a lot harder to do against these other deep teams in the Eastern Conference. Jason Tatum, up until probably the NBA Finals last year, was a great playoff player, too. This year, he was kind of streaky, like Jaylen Brown and a lot of the other Celtics players.
If he was healthy in that final game against the Miami Heat, if he didn't roll his ankle, I think the Celtics win.
Even so, Jason Tatum's track record in the playoffs, even before that, remember when he was a rookie? They went to the Eastern Conference Finals, and they lost against LeBron in 7 games. Most of the Eastern Conference season, when LeBron had that insane streak, got swept or lost in 5 games. Like, this is Tatum, and Brown was a second-year player, and Tatum was the best player.
I'm so interested to see how Miami is going to get Dame. It was a talk last week, and now all of a sudden it's died down. I think it's going to start picking back up in the next couple of weeks because basketball is about a month and a half away. Dame already said he doesn't want to play for Portland. He doesn't want to play for the Nets. He doesn't want to play with anybody but Miami. So eventually they're going to pull the trigger, but what are they going to give up? And is Portland going to get ripped off by a team like the Miami Heat because he's demanding where he wants to go and no other team is going to be able to get him besides the Heat? So it's so very interesting, and this is the way basketball has become all about the players, all about the players' union and whatever they think. It's not about the NBA, the ownership. It's not about any of that because the league has decided to let the players run the league, and that is bad. When you know that the players are running the league, it's causing friction on ownership. It's causing friction on the deals that they can endorse moving forward, not only on the players, but the organization as a whole, and maybe investing into other players or investing in other opportunities to grow their product. Bam Adebayo, we've heard that Dame wants to play with Bam, so he's not going anywhere. Jimmy Butler's going nowhere, so I expect any other piece to go. Now, if you have a big three like that and Dame is healthy, why couldn't they win? The Eastern Conference is wide open. Milwaukee is not the powerhouse team that everybody thinks is going to be this year. Chris Middleton is not the same player. That team has no depth. And you look at other organizations that everybody keeps talking about. What did the Knicks do this year? What did they do in the offseason? They've done nothing. I know they added Dante. Good for them. I know all the Knicks fans are just so happy about Dante. And hopefully he turns out to be a much better player. We saw Jalen Brunson turn into a player, so maybe Dante from Villanova becomes a not superstar, but a star. And he gives you 18 points, he gives you 10 rebounds, and he's blocking 2-3 shots a game. If he puts out those numbers and gives you big-time three-point shots because he's a good three-point shooter and he shoots over 40%, then the Knicks slam dunk, baby. I don't think that's going to happen.
The Knicks did something else this offseason. They traded Obi Toppin for nothing.
Did they ever?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. They're going to regret that. That is going to be a regretting move by the New York Knicks to get 2 second-round draft picks for Obi Toppin, who, by the way, when he did play a significant amount of time, put up the numbers. And now he's going to play in Indiana where he's going to start. I think the Knicks need a wing player, a wing defender who can shoot. Dante, they think, is going to be that guy, but I think he's more being that he has a decent size. You could put him at the power forward position on the second team, or you can move him as the 3 on the first team.
Right.
The question is, does it work with the players that they have on the court? And yes, he knows Josh. He knows Jalen. They played together. They know each other very, very well. And I expect him to possibly make a move or two to add maybe a couple other Villanova players because they want Jalen Brunson comfortable over here. And if he's comfortable and he's happy, maybe they can jump over some of these Eastern Conference teams that everybody thinks that are better than they are.